for me, uh, you know, I'm glad that you got the strong family bonds that you have. But for me, on my mother's side, I know her mother. She passed away like in I think 2007. Um, but I don't know my mother's father. Um, I have one uncle down here that I keep in contact with on a regular basis. He has a daughter. Um, when we see each other, we speak, but outside of that, it's not like we shooting each other a text message or anything like that, saying, "Hey, what's up, cuz?" Nothing like that. Uh,
Mm.
as far as my mother's siblings, other siblings, I think can't remember exactly how many she got, but two of her brothers passed away. Um, there's another one that's down here in Maryland. I haven't seen him in a few years. Um, her sisters, I haven't seen them in more than maybe in 15 years. They have
Wow.
children that I've never seen. So, in fact, her one of her other brothers has like maybe two, three, four kids, something like that. Damn shame I don't know exactly how fucking many, but
Mm.
I don't have any contact with them. Um, her sister, her both her sisters have kids. I never met them. Don't know what they look like. Don't even know their damn names. Um, on my father's side, I don't know either one of his parents. I don't even know their names. Um, on
Wow.
my father's sister, I knew her, but I didn't know she was my aunt. Her daughter, she has two daughters. When we was coming up, we always called each other cousin, but didn't know we were cousins. Um, um, my father has two brothers. Um, one of his brothers, I know both of his kids. Matter of fact, one of his sons is staying here with me. Um, his sister lives in Virginia, so we have good contact. The other brother
Mm.
has kids there, like in South Carolina, wherever the case may be. I've never met them. We're friends on Facebook, but as far as like actually having a phone conversation or anything like that, never happened. And at 48 years old, I think that's a goddamn shame. Um, so I don't know any great grandparents. Um, I have family in Florida that I don't really, we don't really keep in touch with each other that much like that.
Mm.
Might talk on social media every blue moon or whatever the case may be. Um, outside of that, my sister on my father's side, um, what my father has, can't even say exactly how many siblings I have. And when people ask me, I say I have about seven sisters, no brothers that I know of. Um,
Wow.
I know most of them, but not all of them. I think I have a younger sister that I have not met yet. Um, one sister that I haven't spoken to in years. I think she still lives in Virginia. Um, then my sister's mother, always grew up calling her a aunt. Um, didn't, you know, know any better because that's just what it was. Um, her mother was a grandmother to me. Um, so, that's, uh, you know, my family history that I know. Um, I hate that my family history is like that. I say all the time, I've never known my family on my mother's side or my father's side to have a family reunion, which drives me up in the fucking wall because I'm like, yo, is this not important to anybody? Um, I just, for me, I always look at, what's my family legacy? Where did I come from? Something. I want to know why my family is the way it is. At least get a or even a little bit of understanding of um, where some of the traumas have come from and why they are so. Um,
Right.
and I did the ancestry thing, and you know, I can best describe my attempt at building a family tree as you have trees in the forest or something like that, and some trees are so close together that their their roots intertwine, and it's just a hot mess. Um, and you know, when I started building my family tree, I can't even remember how many people I got on it, but it's so discombobulated that it literally gave me a headache. So that loss of not knowing is detrimental because for me it I always felt like I was the black sheep of the family. um and just thinking about that family tree makes me it really makes me feel more of a black sheep, um because it just leaves emptiness. And and I'll say one of the most one of the things that hit me most out of my life hard, and it hit me so hard that I was at work one day talking to somebody and I started to cry. Um, when my father died and I met his brothers, I met his brothers. They already knew me, but I didn't know them. One of his
Wow.
one of his brothers said, "You should change your last name to the family name now." Um, that hurt so deep. It hurt so deep because, as I said before, from the time that I knew how to say my name up until high school, I went by King Landy. That was on all my most of my documents, my high school stuff, even my damn medical records. um, it, you know, for that to be on my medical records and school records and all of that, other than my birth certificate and my passport and stuff like that, I even think my military ID had that on there. Um, and then to start using my last name in high school, my last name Landy, that was another thing. So then I go from 91 to 2007, I have my legacy, and my part of my mentality was fuck y'all, I got my legacy, I know who I am. My kids know who they are.
Right.
And then for him to say, uh, change your last name to the family name, it's like, why on earth would I do that? Nobody gave a shit to instill that family history in me. Nobody gave me that growing up. Now you're asking me to change my name. That means I would have to change my children's last names. And 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 me thinking how that affects me, I'm not going to put that on them.
Right.
No. And that kind of and and then to have to raise a daughter that wasn't mine, and for a while she carried my last name. And I'm looking like, I would not do that to these children. They don't deserve that. They don't deserve the pain that I went through. I would not put them through that pain. That and that's the kind of family trauma right there that makes a person be like, you know what? I need to be away from y'all because y'all are toxic. That I can't mentally even comprehend the type of bullshit that has gone on in this family to get to this point to say, hey, you should change your name to the family last name. That just blows my mind, man.
So my thing about it is this, right? Um, and of course, this in a form of question. What I mean, like, what goes through a man's mind to even fix his mouth to say some shit like that to you at your father's funeral? Like, if he felt that strongly about it, he should have been pushing your father to say something to you many, many years ago. if that was the case.
Well, it wasn't at the actual funeral. It was like at
Oh,
when the family get together later on. I think
oh, okay then. All right.
like a day or two later. But to your question, what would make somebody ask that question? It's like, wait a minute, you're my uncle. You knew I existed for all those years. Why didn't you put your foot in your brother's ass? I don't give a fuck if he's older or younger than you. Why you ain't put your foot in your brother's ass to be like, hey, that's your son, man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that that just blows my fucking mind. Like, I don't even, I can't even comprehend what goes through people's minds when it comes to stuff like that. I can firmly understand that, as a parent, you may have differences with your children as they grow up, when they come into adulthood or this, that, and the other. But in those formative years, why allow your child to live in a lie like that? A missing identity, like, you know, and for the longest time, I was ashamed of my fucking name. I didn't appreciate my name until I was in the fucking army at 18 years old. So for someone to say that to me, it that's like a stab in the damn right in the middle of the heart, right in the middle.
Wow. Man. So how historically not knowing and the effects of it, like you're just speaking on that, but with my family and not knowing as much as I know I should, um, it kind of like one of those things that are hovering over my head that it's like you need to take care of that and stop
Right,
bullshitting. One thing I do know about my mom's side of the family, historically, is that we at one point were a very wealthy family when it came down to land. We own thousands and thousands of acres of land in Alabama. And to make a long story short, we got swindled out of it. Um, some some of it was the family's fault, and again, the other part was when you dance with the devil, don't be surprised with the results you get, which in our case was all of our land was basically stolen from us. But um, on my father's side, I know that everyone's damn near a genius. Uh, one of my grandmother's brother was so damn smart, he actually came up with some of the math that's in fucking textbooks right now.
oh wow.
But we have a long legacy of people um, with doctors and lawyers and things of that nature in front of their name. Um, I know my grandmother; she could have very easily have been a doctor if she wanted to, but she just preferred nursing. Um, but there's just so much history that again I don't know. So it's kind of like again it's kind of my fault because I know better and I still haven't done it yet. But I'm definitely, now that we're sitting here talking about it, I definitely need to force myself to go and get it done and be done with it.
Yeah. You know, um, historically not knowing and its effects. Um, for me, I know a lot of people who can trace their family history back probably like 200 years, 300 years. They can trace their families back to Europe, and they're probably my age or maybe a little older or a little younger. When you, for us, when we sit back as blacks and we can't even go back to great great grandmothers and stuff like that, or we can't even say, some of us can't even say, hey, well, I got this many first cousins. That hurts. That's kind of like, to me, that's like culturally diminishing. um it's also like, um when you think about the survivability of us, it's kind of like we have a broken foundation. And when you have a broken foundation, you really can't build anything solid on top of it. Um, and that's how I feel about the effects of not knowing, because it's like you you really don't, you have you to be proud of. You have certain elements of your family to be proud of, but you don't have that long standing legacy to be proud of. Like, I want to know if anybody in my family were slaves or not. I want to know if anybody in my family done anything historic or meaningful. Um, I want to know where in the world my bloodline originated. I want to know all these things, and not being able to know, it just hurts. It just hurts.
Yeah, it definitely leaves, you know, a piece out of your puzzle, as they say. I do know that we're indigenous to the land of the United States. That much I do know. Um, Now, how much of that history can I actually uh, find records on? That's a good question.
Exactly.
But
That right there.
that's definitely something. Like I said, I don't have to check into because again, the more we talk about it, the more it's really coming to a full circle for me that I need to get it done.
Yeah, and and it's like, as much as we want to get it done, it's just so damn difficult, because either nobody wants to cooperate, or they just don't know. And it's like,
Yep.
you were the generation before me and you don't know. Like, you don't know, you forgot, or you don't care, or it's not worth it to you. I don't know. Help me understand that. Like, help me understand why that's just one of those things that's just, all right, whatever. Um, I used, us growing up, we had movies like Sounder, Old Yeller, and stuff like that. And you would see the grandfather sitting with the child on his knee and on the steps in the sun, and telling these old stories of this, that, and the other. And it's like, I have none of that to pass along. None of it.
Uh, I was blessed enough to have many conversations with my grandfather on my mom's side. He was a World War II veteran, and he would tell me about some of the things he did while he was in Europe, while he was in the war and shit. And I would just sit there and listen for hours, man. I said, he was a very serious man, but funny as shit at the same time, boy. But I definitely miss those days of being able to be in his presence.
Mhm.
So, how do minorities, mainly blacks, compare to others? You think?
Um, it depends. I think we all we all can identify with, uh, each other's pains to an extent, um, especially with family traumas, because family trauma is uh, not only something that has happened to us. Other races have family trauma, like, you know, Asians were in internment camps when they were brought here. Um, Jews were persecuted in the Holocaust. Um, you've had all kinds of things that led up to family trauma throughout, throughout society. So I don't think that they differ too much from us, but I will say, just from my perspective here in America, I think um, we've had it kind of rough for a long time because the way we were treated and the way that we're still treated to this day. So certain aspects of family trauma will weigh on us heavier than others because we still have that going on to whatever degree. Um, do I know how that changed that? I have no idea. But I don't think that we differ too much when it comes to that.
No, I don't either. Um, I think that within each culture, a lot of us are cut from the same cloth, just a different part of it. That's all. um, Again, I remember growing up in high school and having a lot of Caucasian classmates that were abused at home, especially females. Um, I had one particular female that her father was so abusive that he knocked out one of her front teeth.
Mm,
Um, and I think that was probably about the worst, meanest thing he could have did to her, besides all the other abuse. Because at that point, um, mentally, I could see she was torn apart by that. Um, she gained a nickname of Rat Boy.
mhm,
That's what everybody would call her. Um, but again, I just think that everyone, no matter what creed or color you come from, we all have some type of family trauma. There are very few of us who actually were uh, raised in a loving home and a loving environment, and nothing wrong with that at all. If you were, hats off to you. You were truly blessed. But as far as the rest of us who have gone through a lot of family trauma in our lives and shit, we're still here.
mhm.
We're still surviving and we're still moving on. I think it's a shame that some of us aren't quite able to get past some of the BS we've gone through in our life. Um, I don't want to say it is what it is, but
Today, it is what it is.
yeah, it's just one of those things you have to get past it. You can't let it break you and break you down. I said with my situation, I was wise enough to get to a point in my life where I was like, I got to stop pushing this damn self destruct button. So I sought help. I got psychological help. And through those sessions, I was able to talk with my psychiatrist and let him know what it was I was feeling and what I was carrying. And um, thank goodness I chose the right psychologist
Yeah.
because he definitely helped me let go of a lot of shit I was carrying with me. Yeah. It was funny as shit though, because our first session, right? Um, by the time we are done with our first session, I want to say it was like 45 minutes. He was like, "Dude, you could write a book about your life, right?" And I'm looking at him like, "What?" And he was like, "All the things you've been through, and you're still here.
Mm,
That is amazing." He was like, "You really should consider writing a book about your life." And I don't know. I may do it one day, but just not there yet.
yeah,
But again, I salute anyone who's gone through some harsh times in their life and they're still here.
yeah,
You didn't allow it to, tear you down to the point of you weren't able to progress in your life. No one's perfect. I know I damn sure as hell ain't.
I know that's it. Hey, I ain't perfect either, but I try to be the best me that I could be.
That's it.
That's the only thing that I can promise.
For sure.
Everything else is negotiable. Everything else is negotiable.
Hmm. So again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to the King and I Life podcast. Again, I think these podcasts that we have are very therapeutic, not only for us but for our listeners. Hopefully, I hope that you guys can take in the information and digest it in a way that can help you through anything you may have been through. Uh, so again, we're gonna try our best every Wednesday to give you guys a live. Um, and again, we're gonna have quite a few guests coming on, and we encourage you if you want to participate, call in, shoot us an email, King and I 369 at gmail.com. That's KINGANDEYE at Gmail. Well, at um, 369 at gmail.com. Sorry.
I don't know why we keep
I don't
stumbling
know. I
over
don't
it.
know. And it's just such a simple email address. But anyway, once again, thank Dr. King for coming on and sharing with us. Uh, again, he's constantly updating me with information. So when he updates me, I update you guys on our Facebook page. Um, and again, and best of luck with him and his pursuits to become the prime minister of his country and help his people.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, thank y'all for, I don't want to say bearing with us. Thank you for sitting with us as we bare our hearts and souls.
For sure.
It's a stigma out there, especially with black men, um, about putting it all out on the table. But, you know, if we can do this and encourage someone else to do it, um, we've pretty much done our task. Um, a task that's beneficial to someone out there. Um, because we all need to be able to vocalize this stuff and express it because we don't need to hold it in. But
No,
and with that said, oh yeah, and we don't mind if y'all text us and inbox us, but we would love for y'all to comment on, our YouTube videos and Facebook stuff. We just trying to build that 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 fan base, um that support system. Um, if you know anybody out there who has a story to tell, send them our way. We would love to, help them put their story out there.
definitely, definitely. Um, like we always say, this isn't a platform where we want celebrities on here. Not saying that we would turn them away, but we're we built this platform for the average person or the person that's on their journey. You know what I'm saying? I think we're all capable of bigger and better things and great things in our lives.
Yeah,
But again, we built this platform so everybody has a voice. Everybody has somewhere where they can come and share information and release information. And again, we're all on this journey, man. So we're deeply thankful for all the emails that we get, and please believe we are following up on those because I know some of our emails we've gotten, the people are waiting on those, but they are definitely still on the table. So don't think that they're not. But again, we're gonna say goodbye and
yes, yes, yes.
peace.